A young man sleeps alone in the open desert. He has no fire. He has no tent. He has no family within 40 miles. You can almost feel the wind moving across the stones around him. His only pillow is one of those stones, set under his head because he could not find a softer one before the sun went down. His name is Jacob. He is running for his life from a brother who wants to kill him. He stole a blessing. He cheated his father. He left his mother in tears at the door of a tent he will never see again. And tonight, somewhere between Beersheba and Haran, he closes his eyes on the dirt and falls asleep expecting nothing. And then heaven opens. A ladder set on the earth with its top in the clouds. Angels going up, angels coming down, and the God of the universe standing at the top, looking down at the boy on the rock and speaking the words that will echo for 4,000 years. I am with you wherever you go. That is the first thing God did with the man whose grandchildren would become a nation. He did not give Jacob a map. He did not give him a sword. He did not give him a prophet. He gave him a dream. For 2,000 years, people have asked the same question you might be asking right now. Why does God speak in dreams? Why the darkness? Why the strange symbols and the cows and the statues and the ladders? Why not just speak? The Bible records 21 of these moments. 21 times God leaned down into the silence of someone's sleep and changed the course of history. And you are about to walk through every single one of them. This is not a list of weird symbols. This is not a study in ancient psychology. This is not a side corner of scripture. This is the secret language God uses when the waking world stops listening. And one of these dreams will be ignored. The woman who has it will send a desperate message to her husband at the most important political moment of his career. He will read it. He will think about it. And then he will wash his hands in front of the wrong crowd. You will meet her, but not yet. The Hebrew word for dream is shalom. It comes from the same root as the word for to make whole. A dream, in Hebrew thought, was not random firing in the brain. It was God knitting together a piece of reality the dreamer could not yet see awake. Pay attention to that, because it changes how you read every dream that follows. Go back to the rock with me. The boy is still asleep, the ladder is still there, and the voice from the top of it is still speaking. I am with you. I will keep you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you. Jacob wakes up. He sits up on the dirt and looks around at a desert that looks exactly the same as it did the night before. Same stones, same wind, same morning sun. And he says one of the most quoted lines in the whole Bible. Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. Here is what most people miss. Look at the ladder again. It is not going up to God. The angels are coming down to Jacob. Heaven moved first. The fugitive on the rock did not climb anywhere. He did not earn anything. He did not even ask. God came down the ladder to a thief who was running from his own family. You need to sit with that for a second. That is the first God-sent dream in the Bible, and it sets the pattern for every single one that follows. 20 years pass. Jacob is no longer a runaway. He is a wealthy man with 2 wives, 11 sons, and a herd of livestock that is making his father-in-law furious. Laban has been cheating Jacob for 2 decades. Jacob has been quietly outsmarting him the whole time. And then one night, God speaks to Jacob in a dream. Go home. The same night, Laban has a dream too. The God of Jacob shows up in the bedroom of the man who has been Jacob's enemy for 20 years and gives him one warning. Be careful that you speak to Jacob neither good nor bad. You see what just happened? God uses dreams to protect his people from people who have more power than they do. He shows up uninvited in the bedroom of the boss. the Pharaoh, the king, the father-in-law. He says one sentence, and the man with all the power wakes up afraid, but it gets stranger. Rewind one generation. Abraham and Sarah are traveling through the territory of a Philistine king named Abimelech. Abraham, in a moment of cowardice, tells the king that Sarah is his sister. Abimelech takes her into his house, and that night, God appears to him in a dream. Behold, you are a dead man because of the woman you have taken, for she is a man's wife. Abimelech wakes up trembling. He has never heard the name of the God of Abraham. He does not worship him. He does not pray to him. He does not even know he exists. And yet God has just spoken to him as clearly as a king speaks to a peasant. Abimelech sends Sarah back at sunrise. You need to see this. From the very first chapters of the Bible, God is speaking in dreams to people who do not know his name, foreigners, pagans, outsiders. He is not limited to the tents of the chosen family. He is moving in the bedrooms of empires. And then comes Joseph. He is 17 years old. He has 10 older brothers who hate him because his father loves him more. And because his father gave him a coat, the other brothers were not given. And one night, Joseph has a dream that he is foolish enough to tell at the breakfast table the next morning. We were binding sheaves of grain in the field, and my sheaf stood up, and your sheaves all gathered around mine, and they bowed down to it. His brothers are already furious. A few nights later, Joseph has a second dream. The sun and the moon and 11 stars bow down to me. Now, even his father rebukes him. Shall I and your mother and your brothers come and bow down before you? Imagine being 17 and waking up from a dream like that. Now, imagine what happens to you in the next 13 years. Within weeks of those dreams, his brothers throw him in a pit. Within a month, he is sold to slave traders. Within a year, he is a household slave in Egypt. Within 5 years, he is forgotten in a prison cell under a false accusation, watching the desert sun move across one small window for 2,000 mornings in a row. You need to feel what those years cost him. 13 years between the dream and the throne. 13 years of wondering whether the dream was real. 13 years of every reason to believe that God had abandoned him. And then, one night in the dungeon, 2 new prisoners arrived. Pharaoh's cupbearer and Pharaoh's baker. Both have dreams on the same night. Both wake up disturbed. And the Hebrew kid in the next cell offers to interpret. Do not interpretations belong to God? The cupbearer's dream. In 3 days, you will be restored to Pharaoh's table. The baker's dream. In 3 days, you will hang on a tree. 3 days later, both come true, exactly as Joseph said. And the cupbearer walks out of the prison and immediately forgets the boy who saved him. You can almost feel the silence Joseph lived in for the next 2 years. No word, no release, no explanation. And then Pharaoh has a dream. 7 fat cows come up out of the Nile. 7 thin cows come up after them, and they eat the fat cows. He wakes shaking. He falls back to sleep. He dreams again. 7 full ears of grain. 7 blasted ears. The blasted ears swallow the full ones. He wakes for the second time and calls every magician in Egypt to his court before sunrise. None of them can interpret it. And then, somewhere in the back of the throne room, the cupbearer remembers. There is a Hebrew boy in the dungeon. Stay with me, because what happens next is one of the fastest rises to power in ancient history. Joseph is 30 years old when he walks out of that prison. He is 13 years older than the morning his brothers stripped him of the coat. They shave him. They give him clean clothes. And by sundown that same day, he is standing in front of the most powerful man on earth. telling him that God is sending 7 years of plenty followed by 7 years of famine, and that someone wise needs to be put in charge of the grain. Pharaoh looks at him and he says, "Can we find such a one as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God?" By sundown, Joseph is second in command of Egypt. The Jewish historian Josephus, writing in the 1st century AD, notes that Egyptian court records preserve the memory of a 7-year famine in exactly this period. The dream was not poetry. The famine actually came, and the boy whose dream had cost him 13 years was the only man on earth who could read it. Take a breath here for a second. If you have been following along with me, you have already met 5 God-sent dreams. There are 16 more to go, and the next one was given to a king who burned down the Temple of Jerusalem and dragged a generation of Jewish children into slavery 1,000 miles from home. If a video like this is the kind of thing you want more of, hit subscribe so the next one finds you. And tell me in the comments, which dream so far has hit you the hardest? The ladder, the cows, the coat? Now back to the story. 300 years after Joseph dies in Egypt, the Israelites have escaped slavery, walked through a desert for 40 years, conquered a land, and very nearly thrown all of it away. It is the time of the judges. Anarchy, idolatry, cycles of disaster. In one of those cycles, a tribe called Midian rides in from the east on camels every harvest season and burns everything the Israelites have grown. Year after year, the people are starving in their own land. They are hiding in caves. And one young man named Gideon is threshing wheat in a wine press, indoors, in the dark, because he is so afraid of being seen. God calls him a mighty warrior. Gideon does not feel like one. You would not either. So God does something he has not done since the days of Joseph. He sends a dream, but not to Gideon. He sends it to one of the enemy soldiers in the Midianite camp. And then he tells Gideon to sneak down to the edge of that camp at midnight with one servant, just to listen. Pay attention to this. Gideon creeps down through the dark with his heart in his throat. You can almost hear his breathing. He gets close enough to hear voices inside one of the tents. And he hears a Midianite soldier telling another Midianite soldier about a strange dream he just had. A loaf of barley bread came tumbling into our camp. It struck the tent. The tent collapsed. And the second soldier, without being asked, without being prompted, without having any way of knowing, interprets the dream himself. This is nothing other than the sword of Gideon. God has given Midian into his hand. Gideon worships right there in the dirt. He goes home and routs an army of 135,000 men, with 300 men carrying torches and clay pots. And the courage that did it came from a dream God planted in the head of an enemy soldier who never knew he was God's messenger. That is what God does with dreams. He uses your enemy's sleep to give you your courage. Now, skip forward 200 years. A new king is on the throne of Israel. He is 20 years old. His name is Solomon. On the night he offers his first sacrifice at a place called Gibeon, God appears to him in a dream and asks him one question. Ask what I shall give you. Picture yourself in that moment. You are 20. You just inherited the throne of the most blessed nation on earth. The God of the universe is sitting across from you in a dream and asking what you want. He could have asked for anything: armies, long life, victory over his enemies, the death of the men who tried to kill his father. He asked for a listening heart. In Hebrew, the phrase is lev shomeah. It does not just mean a smart mind. It means a heart that hears. And here is what most people do not know. The Hebrew word for hear and the Hebrew word for obey are the same word, shama. To truly hear God, in Hebrew thought, is to already be moving toward him. Solomon did not ask to be clever. He asked to be a man who heard God so deeply that he could not help but obey. You should think about what you would have asked for. God was so moved by the request that he gave Solomon everything he did not ask for, on top of everything he did. Skip forward another 400 years. Jerusalem is burning. The temple Solomon built is being torn down stone by stone by the army of a Babylonian king named Nebuchadnezzar. He drags an entire generation of Jewish children back to Babylon in chains. He puts the smartest ones in the royal school. He gives them new names and Babylonian food and Babylonian gods. And one of those boys is a teenager named Daniel. A few years into Daniel's training, the king has a dream so disturbing he cannot sleep. And worse, he cannot remember it. He calls every wise man, every astrologer, every magician in the empire to his throne room before sunrise. And he tells them, "Tell me what I dreamed and what it means. If you cannot, every one of you dies tonight." Imagine being one of those magicians. Imagine being Daniel, a teenage exile from a destroyed city, asking for one night to pray. God shows him the whole thing. Here is the part nobody tells you. The dream was a statue. Head of gold, chest of silver, belly of bronze, legs of iron, feet mixed of iron and clay. And then a stone, cut without human hands, comes flying out of nowhere and shatters the statue at the feet, and the whole thing collapses into dust, and the stone grows into a mountain that fills the earth. Daniel walks into the most powerful throne room on earth and tells the most powerful man on earth, "Your kingdom is the head of gold. After you, 3 more empires, silver, bronze, iron, and then a kingdom that no human builds, that no human ends, that will crush all the others and never pass away." The 4 empires came true in order: Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome. You are living in the kingdom that came after all 4. But it gets stranger. Years later, the same king has another dream: a great tree towering to the sky, sheltering every creature on earth. A voice from heaven says, "Cut it down." Daniel weeps before he tells him what it means. The tree is you. You will lose your mind. You will eat grass in the field like an ox for 7 years. And exactly as the dream said, the most powerful man on earth crawls on his hands and knees in his own gardens for 7 years, his hair growing long like feathers, his nails like the claws of a bird, until one day he raises his eyes to heaven and his sanity returns. The dream was not punishment. The dream was rescue. You need to remember that. The dreams then moved to Daniel himself: a lion with eagle wings, a bear with 3 ribs in its teeth, a leopard with 4 heads, a beast with iron fangs and 10 horns. The same 4 empires, seen from heaven's angle this time. And then the Ancient of Days takes his seat, and the books are opened, and one like a son of man comes with the clouds of heaven and is given a kingdom that will never pass away. That is the dream Jesus quotes at his own trial, the dream that cost him his life. 400 years of silence follow. No prophets, no dreams, no voice from heaven. And then, in a tiny carpenter shop, in a town nobody important has ever visited, God starts speaking in dreams again. The Greek word for dream is onar. It appears in the entire New Testament exactly 6 times. Every single one is in the Gospel of Matthew. 5 of them surround the birth of Jesus. The 6th surrounds his death. Matthew is the Gospel of dreams. The first one comes to a carpenter. His name is Joseph, not the Joseph in Egypt. A different Joseph, 1,500 years later, living in a hillside village called Nazareth that nobody important has ever visited. The Greek word for his trade is tekton, builder, worker in wood and stone. He is probably in his late 20s. He is engaged to a teenage girl named Mary, and she is pregnant, and he knows the child is not his. Under Jewish law, he could have her stoned in the street. He has decided instead to divorce her quietly, to save her life, to absorb the shame, to walk away. And that night, an angel comes to him in a dream. Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife. The child she carries is from the Holy Spirit. You will name him Jesus because he will save his people from their sins. Joseph wakes up, does exactly what the angel said, marries her before sunrise. You need to see something about this man. He never speaks one word in the entire New Testament. Not one sentence, not one prayer, not one teaching. He is the only major figure in the Gospels who does not have a single line of dialogue. But 4 times God speaks to him in a dream, and 4 times he obeys before the sun comes up. What would you have done, knowing what he knew, carrying what he was being asked to carry? The next dream goes to a group of foreigners. The Bible calls them magoi, the Greek word for astrologer, priest from Persia or Babylon. You have probably grown up picturing them as 3 kings on 3 camels, but the text never says how many there were. It never says they were kings. The early church historian Eusebius, writing 200 years later, records that they were astrologers from the east who tracked the heavens for a living. They traveled 900 miles across desert following one star. They reached Jerusalem and walked straight into the palace of a man named Herod the Great. You need to understand the man they are talking to. Herod is half Edomite, half Jewish. He has murdered his own wife. He has murdered 2 of his own sons. The Roman writer Macrobius, in his Saturnalia, records that Caesar Augustus once said it was safer to be Herod's pig than to be Herod's son. This is the man the wise men have just told that a new king of the Jews has been born under a star in Bethlehem. He tells them sweetly to come back and tell him where the child is so that he can worship him too. That night, the Magi have a dream. Do not return to Herod. They obey. They go home a different way. The first foreigners to worship the Jewish Messiah are warned by the God of Israel in a dream. The second dream comes to Joseph the carpenter again. The angel returns. Rise, take the child and his mother. Flee to Egypt tonight. He gets up in the middle of the night. He wakes his wife. He picks up a sleeping toddler, and he walks 200 miles into a foreign country before sunrise on the strength of a dream. Days later, Herod sends soldiers into Bethlehem and kills every male child under the age of 2. The dream saved Jesus by hours. Years later, the third dream, Herod is dead. Go back. The fourth dream, the same night, but not Judea. Go to Nazareth. Now watch what happens next. Every single major movement of the Christ child's first 2 years of life is directed by a dream. Not a prophet, not a priest, not a temple oracle. A carpenter dreaming in a back room. This is not a story about sleep. This is not a story about symbols. This is not a story about prophecy. This is a story about a God who refuses to be silent, even when the world has closed its eyes. You know the feeling. The phone rings at 3 in the morning, and before your hand even reaches it, your stomach is already in your throat, because nobody calls at 3 a.m. with good news. That is what a God dream felt like. Not a poetic image, not a soft suggestion. A 3 a.m. phone call from heaven. And when you picked up, the world had already changed. Now you come to the last one. 30 years pass. The child in the dream has grown up. He has preached. He has healed. He has raised the dead. And on a Friday morning in Jerusalem, he is standing bleeding before a Roman governor named Pontius Pilate. The Roman historian Tacitus confirms the trial. The execution actually happened. The man named Christus actually died. And just then, at the most politically dangerous moment of Pilate's career, a servant pushes through the crowd with a folded note from Pilate's wife. Have nothing to do with that righteous man, for I have suffered much because of him today in a dream. This is the woman you have been waiting to meet. Her name, in the tradition of the Eastern Church, is Claudia Procula. She is the granddaughter of Caesar Augustus. She is the wife of the most powerful Roman in Judea. And she is the only person in the entire trial of Jesus who tries to save him. She had a dream. She sent the message. He read it. He thought about it. And then he called for a basin of water and he washed his hands in front of the wrong crowd. The last God-sent dream in the Bible was ignored. And the man who ignored it is remembered for one thing and one thing only for the rest of human history. So why does any of this matter? Why does a list of 21 ancient dreams matter to you sitting where you are tonight? 3 reasons. The first one is this: God speaks at history's hinge points. Every God-sent dream in the Bible comes at a turning point. Jacob fleeing his brother, Joseph forgotten in a prison cell, Solomon on the night of his first sacrifice, Daniel in a foreign court the morning after his city burned, the Magi 900 miles from home, a carpenter holding a sleeping child at midnight, a Roman housewife the morning her husband would judge God. He does not waste dreams on small moments. He saves them for the moments that change everything, including, very possibly, the moment you are in right now. The second one is harder. God speaks to the people the world ignores. A teenage shepherd boy with a coat, a foreign king who did not know his name, a Persian astrologer, a small-town carpenter who never spoke a single recorded word, a Roman woman whose own husband would not listen to her. Not one of these dreamers held religious office. Not one was a priest. God spoke to the people the temple would not let in, which means he can speak to you wherever you are, whatever you have done, whatever room you are sitting in right now. The third one is the hardest. The most dangerous thing you can do with a message from God is to read it and do nothing. Joseph the carpenter obeyed 4 times before the sun was up. Pontius Pilate read his note and washed his hands. One man's family was the household that protected the Savior of the world. The other man's name is the only proper noun in the most spoken creed in human history, attached forever to the word suffered. 2 men, 2 messages, 2 responses, and 2,000 years of history hangs on the difference between them. You are not Pilate, but every one of us has a note from God. We have either obeyed or set aside. So I want you to tell me something. Which dream in this video hit you the hardest? Was it the latter, the cows, the wife of Pilate? Tell me in the comments. I read them. And if God has been whispering to you in the dark, do not wash your hands. Listen.